Hello, my name is Paul McBratney. I'm one of the solutions engineers here at AlertLogic. If you've been working with our product over the last few months, one of the things that you'll notice we've been adding some dashboards and other capabilities to present more data to our customers to help them understand how they're doing, how they're progressing in improving their security strategy. And one of the things that we've added most recently has been the Managed Accounts Health Summary. This is for those customers who have multiple accounts. It gives them the ability to look down across all of their accounts and figure out where to spend their time, where to focus their efforts. And keep in mind, this is focused on the health of your deployment. If you have agents that aren't functioning properly, you have missing agents, you have networks that you're not monitoring, this is to help you understand how good your coverage is. So this is a little different than vulnerability, but it's important to keep in mind that the usefulness of your security tool and how much it can protect you is only as good as your deployment itself. So one of the first things you'll see is it's going to highlight down here in the scorecard. It's going to show you the different accounts. And keep in mind, this is all demo data. We never show one customer's data to other customers. But the first thing it shows you is how many accounts have issues in them, how many unprotected networks. These would be networks that we don't have any coverage on. Now, keep in mind that you may have servers you don't want to cover. There may be a reason that you have missing agents. There may be networks that you don't want to cover. And I'll show you in a minute how to silence those. The important thing is we want to show those to you so you're making a proper security and business decision. It isn't just a matter of someone's added a network or added additional servers and the security team wasn't aware of it. Total hosts, missing agents, and this is very common in cloud. In AWS and Azure, for instance, specifically, but also sometimes in VMware, you can have a very dynamic environment where new servers or instances are spun up for a short period of time, and the agents are never installed on them, and the folks that manage security aren't aware that these servers have shown up in the system. One of the most important things you can do to help that is you can ensure that all of your server builds, because in most virtual environments, you have a gold image for each type of server. Make sure that the universal agent is included in the installation of each of those. So when you spin up a new server, it will automatically be protected. And this is to help you understand how many days old your configuration issues are. Obviously, you want to drive that number down. We're going to come back to the health scorecard in just a moment, but this is to help you understand what accounts have the most unhealthy appliances, which have the most unhealthy agents, the most unprotected networks, the most missing agents. This is going to give you that quick overview so you understand how am I doing. Your security posture, again, is only as good as the implementation of your security tools. So in the health scorecard by account, the big question is, where should I focus? Well, obviously, if you have a lot of red on one of these lines and each line represents a separate account, that's really where you want to focus. One of the things I think is especially important is if you don't have agents in a particular area or you don't have protection on a particular network, that's one of the things you probably want to resolve most quickly. So let's start with agent status. Actually, we're going to jump over to missing agents. So this is going to show you servers that have no agents. Now, the other thing I'm going to tell you from time to time, you're going to get alerts that say that an agent isn't behaving properly. And what to do about that? If you have an unhealthy agent, it just isn't behaving properly, don't spend a lot of time troubleshooting it. Start by reinstalling the agent. That covers 90% of all issues that you have. And a lot of troubleshooting isn't generally required for that. And just make sure you're installing the latest version of the agent. There is a place up here in the support center where you can get the latest copy of the agent for Windows or Linux, and specifically for the distribution of Linux that you may be running. So what you want to come in and do to these is you basically want to perform the remediation. The remediation is the action that you're taking. And of course, the real action is you're going to reinstall the agent or you're going to install it for the first time. But this is where you're actually looking at it. Now, there's something wrong with the agent collection here. That could be network, that could be another issue, but let's assume in this instance that you've reinstalled the agent and that resolved your issue. What you would want to come in here and do, and it tells you what the server is, this tells you what has happened. Now here's another common scenario that happens. This server is no longer online, and that's why we haven't seen that. So your two options are disposed or concluded. Concluded is going to mean I've taken care of this. It isn't an issue anymore. And if we continue to see that as an issue, we're going to raise it again tomorrow. The other option is disposed. And disposed could be that server doesn't exist anymore. For whatever reason, it's an acceptable risk, or it's a false positive, or you have some sort of compensating control. Below that, you can tell us how long to silence that. Silence it for a day, a week, a month, 3 months, a year, forever. I would start to where you have missing agents and things like that. I would go through and dispose of all of those that you've looked at and you've determined I don't need an agent there. This would also be something that I would do with networks as well. If you've looked at a particular server or a particular network for that matter, and you've determined I don't need coverage, I've looked at that, I have a security or business reason that I don't want coverage there, I would dispose of those, and I would pick the longest time frame, basically forever, so those don't continue to distract you as you're working on a daily basis. Let's jump back over to the dashboard and get into the proper account here. I need Albert Systems. There are going to be configuration recommendations too. Sometimes the configuration recommendations are you need to make some network changes. You may have a network security policy or a firewall policy that's preventing an agent from reaching the appliance, because remember, for IDS, the agent has to be able to take that copies of that network traffic and send it to an appliance. For log, remember, the agent has to be able to take that log data, it encrypts it and it sends it directly back to us, so it has to have a route to the internet. So look for those types of issues. Again, if you do have things that are showing up that aren't a concern any longer, you remove the server, you don't want to cover that server, you can dispose them. When you've actually taken the remediation steps, remember that you're going to want to conclude them. Let's jump back to the health summary one more time. The other thing is focus on network protection. Now, a lot of times customers will have networks within a data center or sometimes within an office where they're not using IDS. And this is perfectly normal. For instance, we usually don't cover workstations and laptops within an office environment with IDS. We do have another product for that, extended endpoint protection, that's more appropriate to the laptop desktop world. So when you see this and you see you have networks in here, obviously you may want to make a change. You may want to install agents on those individual desktop or on those individual servers, if those are servers. Again, you're going to want to come through the remediation steps, and it's very, very similar. You're going to step through and you're either going to conclude them, let's grab that, or you're going to dispose of them as well. So again, if you've made a business decision that, hey, this particular CIDR range, I don't need IDS coverage on that, feel free to dispose of that and mark it to the end of time. There is a way that you can look through all of the remediations that are listed and go back and audit all of those that have been disposed. So once something is disposed, it's not necessarily gone forever. It is still there. You can go back and look at it at a later point. Thank you for your attention today. My name is Paul McBratney. I hope you have a good day.